What's up, Fight fans? Big Tone here, back with Nino Beige. Talk about the week.
What's going on?
What's up? Talk about this crazy week of MMA. Things kind of kicked off Monday. They had Ryan Bader and Lorenz Larkin on the MMA Hour. Both new signings of Bellator. And then shortly after the MMA Hour ended, the Bellator New York card got announced. Pay-per-view, a bunch of fights on it. It kind of trickled out from there. We had the first fight was Sonnen versus Vanderlei, which I know you weren't that big of a fan of that headlining that card. But then things started to roll out more and more as time went on.
I think it's going to be an awesome card, you know what I'm saying, for the fans of the sport, like the true fans of MMA is a great card, you know, I'm learning wanting to see the best fighters fight from wanting to see the best fights, you know what I'm saying, because the matchup is, and obviously making matches is an art form that, you know, we took for granted, and we're seeing it now with how things are going in that other organization. But we're talking about Bellator right now. So you go ahead. You're right.
Well, I'm the fan. So the reason, kind of speculation behind this is they wanted to have obviously the title fights that are on the card. Those two title fights are going to be Michael Chandler versus Brent Primus, and then they have Douglas Lima fighting newly signed Lorenz Larkin. So those two are obviously going to be 5-round fights, and then they did a double main event with the Fedor Mitrione fight, which was also announced Monday, I believe, right? These were all announced on Monday, right?
So Monday or Tuesday. A couple were announced Tuesday.
Okay.
It was a quick window for the card. The card came together.
Yeah. And so, they wanted to have, they're calling them double main events. So they have Fedor Mitrione and Vanderlei and Sonnen are both going to be 5 rounds. And then they have the title fights, which are obviously 5 rounds. So that's kind of why.
It's going to take them. They get some knockouts. This card is going to be on at 2 in the morning.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is the structure is a little weird because they're calling the pay-per-view portion Bellator New York City, NYC or whatever, and then the Spike portion Bellator 180.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know what this like. I told you, I would be the biggest fan in the world if I worked for Bellator. You know what I'm saying? I would love to work for Bellator and help them overthrow the evil empire that has become WME. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the evil acronym, whatever they are, I would love Scott Coker. But what he's doing right now, I feel like it's. I told you before, man. We talked about it before. I feel like it's reactive, but this card, in and of itself, it's going to stand up by itself. When we watch it, we're going to like what we see, I believe. Unfortunately, I do feel like it's like the date. So don't give me the date is June
24th.
June 24th.
Yeah, it's a weekend that they picked a weekend that the UFC has nothing scheduled on.
Right. Now there's a reason the weekend has not the UFC scheduled for them, because that's the end of the NBA Finals. So I feel like when Bellator is having these meets, like, oh man.
Hey, Nino, but no, you know the Knicks aren't going to be in the NBA Finals, so they don't have to worry.
Of course not. The Knicks will be home. The Knicks are home now. They're made summer plans in February, so it's cool. But I'm far as, I feel like, when you market something on this scale, like when you're going to do an event this big, you got to remember that you're competing for the sports fan.
Yeah, you're competing for that what is it, that age group that they put MMA fans in? It's like 16 to 35 or something.
Yeah, you're competing for all of those guys, and when you got the possibility, like, Steph Curry and LeBron James in the finals.
The finals.
The finals.
That's the finals. Wow, that's a big one. Well, I mean, they do take. Oh, it's a Saturday. Is it a Saturday?
I think that's the end. I mean, okay, put it like this. It might not be the end of the NBA finals. It might not, but because the NBA finals can stretch on into deep June, but it may not happen that way. So I understand why they're doing it. I could be totally wrong, but and if the finals end before that, don't hold me to that. I'm just sitting up here thinking long term, like, if I want my New York card to be I'm not sandwiching it in between things that could possibly take pay-per-view dollars away from you, because you're already going to take a hit in comparison. When people compare our pay-per-view numbers, because it's all about perception. My papers to the other organization that pay-per-view numbers, they automatically going to talk about, oh, well, you did this and you didn't even price it at what they priced theirs at. You're going to
so let's clarify that, because I think a lot of people just automatically assumed that they hear MMA and they think automatically UFC's $60 price point.
$59.
Yeah.
$59 for HD. Yeah, they already. They've already resigned themselves. I'm not buying that.
Yeah, the thing is, on a pay-per-view, I don't know if some people might not know that, but they did, a couple of years ago, I think back in 2014, I paid for it. I think it was, for me, it was $35. It wasn't $60. I've heard other people say I've heard anything from $30 to $40. I think the cable companies actually came up with their own prices, basically. So depending on who you had, you got different things. But I do not. There is no word yet on what the price is going to be, but I do not think it will be $60. So that's just not how Bellator is.
I agree. I mean, I wonder if Bellator is cool to lose money. New York is a very expensive place to put a car, to put an event on.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have, with all the insurance requirements they have already set up. So I wonder if they're cool, like, we'll lose money to do this. You know what I'm saying? It's this, or we're not necessarily lose money, but we'll take effort just to make sure we get this event in. You know what I'm saying? We'll take a big risk.
I feel like this is more like a state. This is almost like a statement. This is This is them saying, like, we're here, like, and trying to get more of the casuals into their card, into their stuff. Because honestly, these cards that they're doing, where they'll put them on in like Oklahoma or just places that might have like one fighter that the casual fan has heard of.
Right.
Those aren't gonna get you, gonna bring in new fans. You're just gonna keep getting the same repeat customers, basically. So.
Hey, this is your show. Can I ask you a question?
Huh?
I said, this is your show, and you are the lead. Can I ask you a question?
Oh yeah.
Like, it's a double-edged sword to keep promoting former UFC fighters the way that they do.
I do, yeah. This has been a thing for me. I've said this before. I don't know if you remember when I said the way that they have their roster structured is so that they have these names, which are just old. And mostly just kind of older, past their prime, for mostly former UFC guys that are thrown on to headline cards and then drop younger talent on the backside of the roster. And I said before, I don't know how long they can do this, and I hope, and I'm speculating that maybe this is maybe a turning point. I don't know, but we'll have to see. I think it's something that can last forever. Like at some point, you do have to stop.
If I'm a Bellator fighter, I got a big problem if I'm fighting at 170 and Lorenz Larkin comes in and gets a title shot in New York.
Well, who would be mad? Give me an example of a fighter that should be mad about that.
No, I'm just saying, if I'm any fighter in their rankings, in their top ranking or whatever.
Well, the thing is that they already scheduled the Paul Daly versus Rory fight, which is going to be before that in London. I guess not right before. These are kind of more spaced out than usual, but those would be the two other guys in the title picture right now. And then
that's what I'm saying. That's like think about it. If you're Paul Daly, you're probably juiced that you're hyped that you got Rory McDonald, right?
Yeah.
You're hyped that you got Rory McDonald, but Rory said I didn't want to come back.
Yeah.
All right. So if I'm Paul Daly, I am heated as hell because I think I can beat the champ. No, and then you could have gave me Rory in New York.
Yeah, I just don't think that. Well, I think Paul Daly is obviously English, and he's going to be on the London card. I think that just at the time it kind of made sense. I think the MSG thing didn't start until after London was already pretty much put in place.
But see, that's my problem with MMA matchmaking. Like, if it's like, did you ever see the movie Friday Night Lights?
Yeah, the movie, right? You're talking about the movie.
Right, the movie.
True story, yeah.
Remember how he had these names? He had these names, the names of his players were on magnets, and he had a depth chart. And when the players would graduate, he would take their names and throw them in the drawer and move the next name up.
I think I might have to watch that movie again because I don't remember that part.
All right, well, at the beginning of the season, he had these names. You remember the main characters? You remember Booby Miles, Chamo, the quarterback?
Yeah.
The fullback?
Uh-huh.
All right. So what I'm saying is I feel like if they aren't doing matchups that way in gearing up for big events, then they're stupid.
Yeah.
Because, like, in my opinion, if I'm Bellator and I know I want to have an event, MSG, all my other events, if I get best case scenario, this is what my MSG event looks like. If I get worst case scenario, this is what my MSG event looks like. How do I get what I want out of MSG as far as matchups leading up to that?
Well,
if they aren't doing it that way, that's crazy to me.
What do you think? What do you think of the card as it stands now?
I think that it's
well, it's actual fights like
Chael and Randy. I think that's a gimmicky fight. I think it's interesting for a lot of different reasons, but I really like if the fight don't happen, I'm not mad. That's what fighting with them. I'm not hurt about it.
Yeah. Did you see? So there was some. I mean, we kind of already talked about that before with San Jose. I went and missed out, but I'll probably be going to New York anyway, so it's all good. But oh yeah, I'm gonna go for sure. Can't miss it.
Right.
But the other fight. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, be more.
Not be more.
You're from DC, my bad. How am I always think Baltimore?
It's okay.
DC. DC area. That's right. East Coast is just compacted. Y'all just like in one little, like tiny little tin can over there.
How are you saying this, dude? You live at the bottom of
Yeah, I'm all over California. I've top to the bottom.
That doesn't matter. You can't talk about how everything is crammed into one place.
My state's as big as like 5 of your states over there on the East Coast.
No. You're right. That's my point. That is exactly my point. And all of your cities that in San Diego are like 2 hours away from each other.
Hey, it's the most beautiful city in the world, I guess.
Yeah, San Diego is dope. But you got Oakland is like a stone throw away from San Jose, which is a stone throw away from San Francisco. And then if you keep going down a little bit, you'll hit LA.
There's a big gap. There's a big gap. You got a big gap. Yeah, I lived in that big gap for a long time too.
Get out of here, dude. You just want to drive the PCH. That's it. Anyway, man, you were saying the rest of the card.
Yeah, well, so there was a little bit of, I mean, to Patricky before Patricky Pitbull. I interviewed him for his fight, and I've talked to him before. Bellator 172, he knocked out Josh Thompson, and then when I interviewed him in the fight before, he said he was definitely wanting the rematch with Chandler, and then afterwards,
wasn't he clowning Chandler he told Chandler he was getting a bigger matchup than he got?
I don't remember saying.
You don't remember him saying that to him on Twitter?
I don't remember that Twitter beef. No.
Yeah, man, they got into a nice little Twitter beef not too long. Chandler was, he said that he would knock both of them out.
Okay, but
his brother.
Oh, I see. Yeah, he did get into the last fight they got in. Actually, he like.
I think it's funny that Chandler's fighting at MSG, and it's neither one of them. It's neither one of the Pitbull brothers. So
that's the thing, though. That's the weird thing is I was at the press conference right afterwards, and Scott Coker said Michael Chandler's been blowing up my phone, and he wants the rematch with Patricky Pitbull, right? And so I just figured that was like a done deal. Like these two are gonna fight again, next time Chandler fights, right? And then Brent Primus, and I'm like, what? Who?
Yeah, man, he was like 7-0 or something.
I had to go look. I had to go look him up. I think he's had this is his third or fourth fight with Bellator. And so that was just kind of odd the way that worked out.
It's like that's why I keep telling you the thing that irritates me about Bellator is I feel like they're so reactive. Like make the fight that the fans want to see.
Yeah.
Make the fight. You don't have but a couple of dudes that the fans really, really want to see. You don't have but a couple of fights that the fans really, really want to see. Make that fight. That's why Ferguson versus Steve was so big. Like they made the fight. It was supposed to happen. The fans were excited. It was going to be huge because that was one of the few fights we really, really wanted to see.
Yeah.
I mean, MMA is turning into something that we don't want to turn into, but surely becoming boxing as far as it's concerned.
Well, you would know more about that than me. I honestly.
Where it takes you forever to get the fight you want to see in the thing.
Okay.
It takes you at least a year. You know what I'm saying? When you're like, oh man, these two dudes should fight.
At least a year. How long did we wait for Pacquiao and Mayweather? Still waiting for Triple G.
I swear it was like 5 years.
Yeah.
I swear it was at least 5 years, dude. I mean, to me, that's one of the ways to kill the sport. Like,
yeah.
keep giving fans matchups they don't forcing them to see it. And then when you start making money off the fights and you start being able to print money off the fights and the matchups and off the fighters, that's not just anymore.
I mean, you do have to give him credit. I mean, that Paul Daly calls out Rory, and they did make that fight.
Yes, that's one where it's kind of like I feel like sometimes the matchmakers' jobs get That's what I'm saying. And the fighters make it organic. You know what I'm saying?
True.
And it's easy to just like, hey, man, we can plug this in right now.
Which is what I think should have happened with Chandler. I don't know that. I mean, Patricky kind of went off on Twitter. I don't know if you saw afterwards saying that both guys turned down fights with him. That this Primus guy turned down a fight with him, and that Chandler turned down a fight with him, and was kind of mocking Chandler for saying, you know, that he won Bellator 172 and his. I thought they were doing it because they wanted to squeeze another name on there. They wanted Pitbull versus somebody else, you know, in the division, or maybe Benson Henderson.
I would say talk to Michael Chandler if you can, you know, and I think it'll be a great conversation to have because he's the one dude that openly says, I want to go to the UFC. Like, he's the one dude in Bellator that says it.
But
you know what I'm saying?
When did he say that?
He says it all the time.
Oh. I mean, what is that? I mean, is it his contract? I mean, it's not like, I mean, what did he sign? Like a 25 contract or something with Bellator?
I don't know what it is. I think what it is they chair. I think that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't.
Well, that's not changing. That's not changing at MSG. So.
And I think that might have something to do with why Scott didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got Will Brooks fighting in the UFC. Will Brooks beat Michael Chandler.
Will Brooks and Eddie Alvarez. Yeah, both beat Michael Chandler and both in the UFC.
And they're both in the UFC. So unfortunately, you have this, like, he wants those back, right? Michael Chandler wants those back. He can't get those back in Bellator. He's gone. So I don't see him throwing the fight, but I also don't see him being able to lose to a guy. I see him being able to put on the show for Bellator at New York, and I see him let the Bellator and leave him. I mean, because there's no way. Like you said, none of this makes sense. It doesn't make sense to book this fight, to book it the way that they booked it, unless they're trying to build up this other guy.
Yeah. I'm not sure what went down there. There was a weird thing. You might not know Aaron Pico. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
So this is a stud wrestler that they signed a while ago, actually.
Right. He's been in the organization for almost 2 years, right?
Yeah, but he hasn't had a fight yet.
Right.
But he was a stud NCAA wrestler, you know, and someone that I'm sure the UFC would have liked to get a hold of too, or like to put on their Ultimate Fighter show or whatever. And it seemed like they might have had a fight lined up with James Gallagher out of SBG, and that fell through. Just from what Pico said, he straight up said that Gallagher turned down the fight, and then the way that they announced it, I mean, you don't usually announce fights. You don't say like fighting to be announced, you know, unless they had something and, you know, we're working on something and then something fell through.
Right. I mean, I don't think Chandler necessarily turned down the Pitbull fight, you know, so what they would like to do with this fight. And he said, all right, I'll play ball with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Patricky said that Chandler turned down the fight. I think he said Brent Primus, the guy that he's going to fight, turned down the fight with him. That was like a month before that or something. So.
Well, but if I'm Brent Primus, why wouldn't I turn down your fight?
Well, you're saying that, but you're acting like he would already have known that he was getting the fight with Chandler. I mean,
like this MSG card didn't just come up 3 days ago.
But these other contract things have been in talks for previous events, so they would have been before this. Yeah.
Exactly. So if I'm Primus's management and I'm Primus's coach or whatever, it ain't like Bellator got a whole bunch of choices that they can put in there with Chandler. It ain't like there's a whole bunch of people they can viably put in there with him at all. So you take this kid who's unbeaten, and he's been impressive in the last couple of fights, and you let him know, like, hey, you might be on the short list for Chandler. Would you be interested?
See, you would think he was impressive in his last couple of fights, but he wasn't really. Is the thing. That's the other thing that just gets to me. I don't know. It's an odd one.
I need to watch more Bellator, man. I do. I need to watch more Bellator. I'm gonna call my cable provider and get like. You know what I mean? But I take your word for it. I just don't understand why Pitbull will be upset from a title shot. Is like, you can't complain about somebody accepting a title shot and turning you down. And that makes no sense. Like, imagine Nate Diaz, somebody telling Nate when he accepts the fight with Conor, like, yo, why you ain't fighting me, Nate Michael Johnson? Why you ain't fighting me, Nate? Why you ain't fighting? Why you fighting? I can't get a rematch. Like,
yeah.
Boy, you sound like a fool. I got a chance to get the belt, and then I got a chance to make this money, but you want me to fight you because you want to get back? Or nah.
Yeah, it's true when you put it like that. It does make, yeah. It's a good way. Lorenz Larkin versus Douglas Lima. What do you think of that one? I mean, I know you said that you didn't like the fact that Larkin came straight from.
No, I don't care. I think he's the best. He's the best. He's the best fighter in there, not named Rory at 170, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would say. I would agree with that. I mean, that's going to get tested, obviously, but
yeah.
We'll see. I mean, that's the cool part.
That's why I asked you. I was like, what do you do? When Bellator has its biggest fight of the year and its two former UFC fighters, what does that say for the organization? That it's growing, or does it say that two dudes who can't get the strap over there? What happens then?
Well, Vanderlei. I mean. Vanderlei Pride as well, though. I mean, is that what you were talking about?
Okay, now let's say Roy. You expect Roy to get past Paul Daly, right?
Anything could happen, but yeah, Rory. I mean, against Paul Daly, he would probably take the Josh Koscheck route and expose that ground game. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because Roy's sick everywhere. So
yeah.
If Roy is one of the most complete fighters, MMA fighters on the planet, let alone any organization.
I would say the most. Yeah, I would say the most.
Yeah. So when you take a dude that is reinvigorated with the fact that now he can wear his own, that's all that he just wanted to wear his own. And now he can do that, and you put him in there with what he believes is inferior competition, because he's already talking about taking the 185 though too. So these guys are clearly inferior to him with what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
So you give him Paul Daly, and I say he beats Paul Daly like he should. But Lorenz Larkin is probably going to beat Lima.
Well, that's one that's a lot closer than you might think, though. That one.
No, I'm saying he's probably going to beat Lima.
I mean. He might. I don't know. That's a tough fight to call, honestly, for me. I mean, I think you might be underestimating Lima a little bit here.
I forget the dude. I want to say his name. He's Dutch. And
Koreshkov?
He fought. No. Was that 185? No. That's 185. Never mind. That's 185. Same organization, wrong fighter. You're right. Yeah, but I don't think Lima is, if aggressive Larkin comes out, in my opinion, I think she pulls it out. In my opinion, because when Lorenz is on it, she's on it.
I think this is the most high level fight of the card, to be honest.
Okay, I can't agree with you. I need to see more Lima fights. I'll admit
Okay.
that.
Yeah. Go. Check out.
He just took Koreshkov out, right?
Yeah. Go. He knocked out Koreshkov after field decision, but had before that, and he handily beat Paul Daly. His only other loss in Bellator, I believe, is to Ben Askren, who's obviously just kind of his own little monster of a style matchup.
Makes me irritating. He's so good, you know. We're never going to fully know it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're never going to just that guy.
Well, yeah, he's with ONE FC now, and now, yeah, that's a different story for another day, man. The ONE FC is a trip. I don't know.
So,
but that's the card, right. And then kind of to cap it all off, Michael McDonald.
Yeah, man, that's not a bad one.
Yeah, it's another top 10 ranked UFC guy. Which, I mean, these might sound like drops in the bucket. These aren't. I mean, would you call Larkin, Bader, or McDonald superstars? No. But I mean, if you keep losing top 10 talent, you know, every time they go to free agency like this, your divisions are going to thin out super quick.
Well, if they keep the influx of talent coming the way that they are, it kind of doesn't hurt as much.
Well, you know the thing is, the talent kind of disperses though. You have all over the place. Well, I guess mainly it's going to Bellator, but some of these guys are going to Rizin, and the lower level guys would be going to like ACB and stuff now. Whereas that used to be UFC just had, you know, could fill out an undercard with just like, you know, plenty of undisputable like top 15 guys in the world, you know. And now they.
So to me, I just think that they're playing the game of we're going to get your guy too. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just took Will Brooks from you. We took Eddie Alvarez from you. You have Michael McDonald. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I feel like when they look at it, they're saying we had GSP to lose Roy McDonald. Fine.
Yeah, that would have been. How crazy would that have been if gone somewhere else? You know. I mean, because.
I think what they feel like they're taking a gamble when they're saying like our brand, and they're doing a lot to damage their brand, but they're taking a gamble when they're saying like our brand is strong enough that when a great fighter goes to fight somewhere else, it doesn't matter. Like to the public as much, it matters, but it doesn't matter as much.
Well, yeah, if we're talking about the casual fan here, I mean, but don't you think? When the casual fan looks and sees something like Bellator or even the League of London card, and then they see Bellator after that. I mean, sorry, NYC after that. I mean, does that you know, change the perception a little bit of, you know?
I think we gotta start readjusting what we call the casual fan.
Okay.
We thought the casual fan was the new fan that watched, that was just coming in because of Conor. But I think the casual fan is a guy that only cares about events that involve Conor. So the Bellator doesn't have casual.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I think Bellator, what happens with fans who watch Bellator has the diehard lovers of the game, and they have the fans don't have anything else to watch on TV. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think what they're doing is that they want to, like, people need stories.
Mm-hmm.
People love stories. People can attach themselves to stories and find it that they want to.
That's something that you get into because honestly, it's not something that I really. I mean, I can remember when Fox did their first card, and they literally had like an hour of Cain Velasquez and Junior Dos Santos, like backstory on them. I mean, it felt like it was an hour each on both.
When I say people like stories, I'm talking about the ones that they can make up in their head about the greatness of their fight.
I'm talking about like the embedded and all that kind of stuff.
Nah.
Okay, my bad.
People excited for fans. The dude is great, and everybody can attribute. Like, people just want to belong, man. They just want to be a part of something. And Conor has a movement, and what made it so great for Conor
is creepy.
Was that
It's a creepy movement, but yeah.
It is. I think what happened we underestimate is how organic that movement was. You know what I'm saying? Like we may not as fans of the sport, fans of the the fighters and things like that. You know, we talking about. We remember how great BJ Penn was when he was great. We remember George, doing this thing. But these dudes don't care about none of that.
Nope.
They care about the talking. Like that's the fan there. So
they probably don't even know Sonnen started all that. Basically, I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Conor's basically a baby. He's the baby of Chael Sonnen and the Diaz brothers, basically.
I mean, yeah, but did you listen to my podcast with Tom Egan?
I listened to some of it, yeah.
Did you hear when he said?
I think I remember that part. Yeah.
He was standing next to Conor, and Conor looked at the magazine before Mayweather, and he said, "That's how you do it."
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So we're watching a guy who has always loved braggadocious. He's emulated himself out of dudes like Ali, which is why he says things Ali says.
I would a lot like no.
No, he definitely used to watch Roy. I mean, I did a podcast on that. How this he punches like Roy. That's a whole other story though. But I'm not talking about speed. I'm talking about just as far as how he goes about.
Well, it's uncanny how close his career kind of resembles Roy Jones. The weight class thing and
yeah, I mean
the way he acts and everything.
I would say this, man. I would say this. I think what needs to happen in both organizations is they need to move him from the equation. Like when you understand what the equation is now, but you can't duplicate what he did. You just have to understand that that's a variable in the equation. So solve for the equation and then act around it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you were doing one of those equations where you had to solve for X, you can't keep ignoring what X is. You have to figure out what it is in order to move on to the next part of the equation.
Are you saying that he's so out of on his own in his own league? Because I mean we've seen this play out before though with Rousey. I mean, as far as raw pay-per-view numbers, she did very similar to what Conor did actually.
Yes, but you also have to understand that was another thing that was so supremely organic. You can't try to duplicate Ronda Rousey. Like if the UFC brings in Mackenzie Dern and they try Ronda Rousey again, it's gonna fail. You know what I'm saying? You can't. That has to happen on its own. Conor came with the whole country. Unless you have a guy who's bringing a whole country with them, you're not gonna have the boom.
Well, you got Khabib. You got Khabib with Russia.
We'll see.
There's a lot more people in Russia than Ireland too. by a few.
But I mean, all I'm saying is, man, I think that when Scott Coker and all these guys are sitting around, they're having this think tank, and Dana and his people are talking. I think the thing that it feels like they're trying to do is they're trying to They're trying to ride the wave and then duplicate. You can't do that.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
I was going to say, Scott Coker is going to be on the MMA, or what do they call that? The MMA hour? The MMA 5 hour? With Ariel, or whatever video thing. I'm sure Ariel tossed him a bunch of softballs and not really get down to, you know how his interviews go. But
yeah, man. I mean, I don't know, bro. I just, as somebody who, like I said, I would love to see Bellator force the UFC to get back to putting on great cards. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was going to ask you. I mean, do you think that Coker and Bellator is able to pull another Strikeforce?
Not like this, no.
No.
I think they could, though. Like if Bellator went out there and said, look, hey guys, you're a great fighter in this organization. Fine. Here's what I would like to do with you. For the time being, you're looking at me like a step. I know I'm not your goal. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to build you. I'm going to bring you over here, and I'm going to build you up so big while you're here because you're great. That everyone wants you. If they treated fighters like they were mutually in the business of being bought out of UFC, even if that wasn't their goal, even if they just told fighters like, look, we're going to treat you like you're as important to this company as I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then fighters would go over there, and they would have the best. They would have the clear cut guy that with super talent that we don't know about yet. They would have that, and it would be seen that way. They wouldn't be looked at as little brothers that like, oh, those dudes are like, they already got Lorenz Larkin, they already got Lima, they already got Corey Combs, and they have legit guys.
Yeah, the welterweight is pretty ridiculous right now, actually.
Yeah, they have legit guys. They just need to build up. They just need like two or three in every other division. And once they do that, then the UFC will be full. Because if you go watch high-level competition for free every weekend, the same way the UFC is putting on, or every other weekend, if you go watch high-level competition, then I mean, what the UFC gonna do? They can't keep making us watch Old Man versus Old Man Volume 4. They can't keep giving us that talking about. You should watch DJ and who is he fighting? Dennis Seaver. Why should I watch it?
That was a waste. Yeah, I mean the bunch of fight announcements this week too, and they kind of just got washed away. Yeah, because everyone was talking about the New York card, Bellator pay-per-view.
Yeah. But, I mean, I need that to happen more because we shouldn't even be able to talk about Dennis.
Yeah, I thought he was retired. I didn't even know he was on the roster anymore, and I thought that the BJ Penn was done. I mean,
didn't he say he was done?
I thought he said he was done. Everybody was like appalled at his last fight. I mean, he's gotten destroyed 3 fights now. So that's a hard one for me to get on board with. I mean, he might. He's always had nasty head kicks, and anymore.
I don't think it's obvious that BJ don't have to tell anymore. I think BJ is when he fought Yar. Like BJ's used to the old school way of fighting. So when he was senior from Yar, whether old school,
that Taekwondo shit.
Yeah, so when you train, it's the stuff that you don't see that when it hits you.
Yeah, I can spot, I mean, I can spot the basics. I mean, you throw, jab, left hook. I'm going to be able to identify it and then, go from there. But
that's been in switch kick. I'm not supposed to see that.
I would just back up. I've never sparred with someone who throws crazy stuff like that. So I don't even know.
You don't even know what you.
No, like the most that I've had to deal with is like that standard like spinning heel to the body that a lot of guys throw at lower level, Muay Thai stuff. But I've the stuff Yair throws, I would just back up and like.
Yo, it was like somebody dropped DJ in a blender with a blindfold on and just turned it on.
Basically,
that's what it looks like, man.
But I mean, they did announce there was some other fights they announced like Bader. The fight that kind of cracked me up, Nogueira and Latifi.
Yeah, man.
So because that's the two guys. So they matched up the two guys that Bader beat on his way out of the UFC.
I don't know what they're doing, dude.
That was just kind of funny. That was like the same week that the Bellator's announcing all these fights. They announced the two guys Bader KO'd after before the UFC, let him go back to go over to Bellator. They matched these guys up in a main card fight. It was I don't know, the irony of it to me.
Yeah, shit. As of right now, Bellator is winning as of right now.
I mean, you could go out and put on a UFC 210 might shock us all and turn out to be greatest fight card ever or something. But
I was saying 210.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying June? Okay. Yeah,
but I mean, even though 211 is crazy. Like,
it is crazy. Yeah. Well, and the card before that with Mighty Mouse, the KC card, Kansas City card is going to be a pretty decent card as well.
I'm giving Bellator for one, being in New York, which is big, and two, you know what I'm saying? You found a way to put Chael Sonnen and Fader on the same card.
Yeah, right?
You win.
Vanderlei, I mean, we haven't seen Vanderlei in all this. We haven't seen Vanderlei since.
What is Bellator's drug testing policy?
Well, I can tell you that much. But yeah, that is a good point. I mean, that fight might get overturned if Vanderlei goes running from the guy. But yeah, I don't know. He's been gone now for 4 years. And it's been that long.
Like forever.
It's a long time, man. And he tried to fight in Risen, and something came up in that tournament they did, the Crow Cop one. So I don't know. If he does fight and he's in shape, I would take him to knock Chael Sonnen the fuck out.
I mean, I don't like Chael at 205.
No, that's not where he belongs. Not at all.
I don't like him at 205, especially for the style. Like, you want to be a wrestler, dominate people and everything.
He's not gonna be able to take.
Bigger man.
You can't. He's not gonna be able to take these 205ers down. He's just not.
I think what he thought was, I'm gonna just come over here and dominate everybody. This is Bellator, and it's not that way, you know. Like, if you're an elite striker, if you're much more elite than everybody else, then maybe you can come on, maybe you can take what you think is a step down in competition and just run through everybody. But if you're a wrestler, you have to have a war of attrition, and you're trying to deal with bigger people. They may not be as skilled as you, but they're bigger. And you're SOL, buddy.
Yeah, that's a tough matchup for him. I would not pick him in that fight at all. Nah. But what happened? I mean, he went from being the Fox Sports, broadcaster dude to fighting again. Like I don't even know. I don't remember how that happened. Yeah. He was reviews and all kinds of TV work, and then.
Well, what happened was Shell got more money from ESPN, which makes sense.
He was on ESPN.
Yeah.
Man, I see. I sometimes I don't have cable, so I miss out on a lot of these things, man. But I didn't even know that. So what? How did he go from ESPN to fighting it? Like, why didn't he stick with his cushy broadcasting job?
I mean, if we believe what Ariel was saying is the truth, you get to work with FS1 as long as you're good with the UFC, boy. Get to work with FS1.
I don't think that's I don't think anyone's disputing that. That's kind of a well-known.
The street tonight is UFC tonight.
Yeah, yeah. The Fox Sports, that Fox Sports 1 thing is a little. Well, it's where it gets a little bit tricky as far as being objective and.
No, they don't even try to be. How are you going to be objective with your champions doing a commentary?
Yeah, that's a little weird. It's a little weird, definitely.
Be objective. I mean, they don't talk about any other fighters. They don't talk about any other fight.
True.
I understand. It's not a minute. There's no attempt to feign objectivity. Hitler's regime, as far as we know what we're about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Fox News. You know what you're getting with Fox News. When you tune in.
Blue eyes, looking over here, baby. You know what I'm saying? Don't come over here with no brown. That ain't what we about over here.
But you know what's weird? You know what's weird with the UFC's relationship with Fox Sports and Fox in general is who do they go to when they have a big fight announcement?
ESPN.
They go to ESPN. They don't go to Fox. They go to ESPN. Every time they have a big announcement, they go to ESPN, which is funny to me. And I think it might also be foreshadowing when the UFC contract comes up with Fox where they might be going.
Now, you understand why that is?
You
understand why that is?
Why is that?
Well, the driving force between my team is the success that the shows on ESPN has, and the personalities that ESPN has are always going to be attached to that brand. Even the guys on FS1, they took the most controversial of ESPN's talent and tried to recreate the controversy, which controversy sells. So you got guys like Colin Howard and Skip Bayless and Jason Whitlock. Now Jason Whitlock is just he's the worst guy in the world to talk about anything. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, like,
let's stay away from Shannon Sharp, right? Like, let's not.
I like Shannon, man.
You like Shannon? Oh my God.
I like Shannon. I mean, I'll tell you why later.
That dude's crazy.
Shannon,
like he's got
Shannon is crazy.
He tried to clap back at me on Twitter about MMA. Like, dude, stay in your lane.
I mean, here's the thing, though. Unfortunately, that is his lane now. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has a show where he's supposed to talk about everything sports. So that
this dude thinks that Nate Diaz will never make 155 again.
Well, see, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Here's why he believes that, and you gotta give him a pass just a little bit.
What?
Because
oh my God.
You gotta give him a pass just a little bit.
Are you a closet Broncos fan? Is that what's going on here?
Not at all, man. Not at all. But here's why. He doesn't know what he does. So if he sees Nate fight at 170 and he's bigger than 170, and blah 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 blah. That's all he knows. He's like Nate. And then he hears Dana White talking about Nate being this overblown, whatever.
That is true. Dana White did. Yeah, he did.
So the seeds are planted, and Shannon is an athlete who takes care of his body. You know what I'm saying? So Shannon still works out.
I see what's going on here. It's because you guys share the same first name. That's why. That's why you're sticking up for him.
Nah, but if somebody would have came and told Shannon, like, yeah, all right, Nate Diaz is a triathlete. Nate Diaz can cut weight with he can cut weight with no problem down to about 160. 155 is a little hard. It's hard for him. If somebody would have told him that before Dana White came out there and was like, Nate Diaz would have put him. If he'd have somebody would have gave him that information first, he wouldn't be sitting there telling people that Nate will never cut down to 155 again.
The weight cutting thing is so funny to me because I see people on Twitter all the time freaking out about, like, they had Ferguson on MMA Hour and he said he cuts down from 1, and people were like, oh my God, he cuts 40 pounds to make lightweight. That's crazy. Like, oh my God, this is madness. Like how did you not know that what weight these guys were cutting down? Or like pretty much everybody in the U.S., all the top level guys cut down huge amounts of weight. I mean, the middleweights, 185ers, Rockhold walks around 205. Bisping walks around 205. Like, I don't understand how this was so kept secret, or people were just.
Willie walks around at 210.
Huh?
Willie walks around at 210.
Yeah, Woodley, the 170 champ, walks around over 200. So it's like, how do they? Is it just that well kept of a secret, or are people just as ignorant that they don't know about weight cutting?
And when they hear people say, when they hear the fighters say this, the fighters don't explain it well either. When Tony Ferguson says, "Yo, I'm cutting down for 190,"
he said 195, I think. But yeah.
195. That's what he started. That's not what he's starting his real weight cut at the week before the fight. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So what you said was right. They don't understand weight cut.
Yeah, it's funny because these same people though think that Conor walks around at like 160 or something insane.
No, Conor definitely walks around at 170.
Yeah,
which is why Conor probably walks around like 175, 180 actually. Which is
that's what Joe Rogan has said. I think it's 175, 180. Yeah.
Shape. When he's in shape, he can't get higher than 167, 168 when he's in shape because his body didn't cut off all the fat. His metabolism is he just can't be no lower than that, and that's fine for him. I mean, he can do 170. He better not ever think about doing 185. Ever.
Yeah, when he would cut down, I mean, I remember when he was making the cuts to he to make 145 every time, but
yeah, he made 145 every time. Again,
towards the end, he started looking gnarly. Like he just like I feel like as he got older, the weight because he would show up just raggedy looking.
I think he changed. I think he changed his body a little bit for that. He started to prepare himself to get like. You actually knew what he wanted to do.
Well, he did the same thing in Cage Warriors. So yeah, I mean, the people shocked at what he was doing, weren't paying attention.
He put on muscle for the Aldo fight, which is at Aldo weight.
Yeah, well, he looked bad at the weigh-in before that. The Seaver one too. He looked gnarly.
He looked bad at the Mendes weigh-in. He looked bad at the Aldo weigh-in.
That's true.
He was putting on muscle, getting ready for. I'm gonna beat these to go 155.
It's just it's freaky. It freaks me out because me and Connor have like the same statistics. I mean, well, not reach. He has a much longer reach than I do, but like just height, you know, and kind of the wide shoulder frames and everything. And like I can't even imagine. I haven't weighed 140. I'm not in shape right now at all. But at one point I was, you know, an athlete back in high school, and I was 5'10", you know, I haven't been 145 since like 6th grade, dog. Like 6th grade.
Yeah. It's an amazing thing. I'm gonna just cut weight, but I'm gonna show y'all how you cut 20 pounds. I'm gonna show you how to do it. It's impossible to cut 20. It's hard, but it's not impossible.
It sucks, yeah.
It's hard. Give me 36 hours, I can do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna hate you. I'm gonna hate everybody. You know what I'm saying? I just wanna punch my kids, but it's doable.
You can't say that on here. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm gonna get ready to, you know, shut it down, bro.
All right, man.
Gotta do the family man thing, but I appreciate you. I'm gonna probably jump on and record something tomorrow. So I'll let you. What time you want me to hit you up?
Anytime, man. I might go over to some gyms, you know, do some stuff, but pretty much anytime, man.
All right, well, that's what's up, man. I ain't you. Thanks for having me on the show. The Atomic Butt Drop is always the dope. Good.
You know.
Stay out of that Cali business, man. White T-shirts.
That was a good reference you dropped down there. I like that.
All right, boy.
All right, man. Later.